I'm Basil. Welcome to another board game breakfast. I really appreciate all those of you who came by and said hi to us at Origins 2017. And of course, if you're wondering why board game breakfast is a day late, well, that's it. Just flew in yesterday. I went straight from Origins to Vacation Bible School at my church, ran that, got home, but now it's time to get board game breakfast done. Okay, so what's coming up? First of all, in 2 weeks from today, we are starting Dice Tower Convention 2017. So there's a lot of things we need to do to get ready for that. But don't worry, there's going to be things that are coming out from the Dice Tower this week and next week during that time. Also, as a weekly reminder, don't forget the Dice Tower Cruise. I had a lot of people come up to me at Origins and talk about the cruise, or maybe I started the conversation. But either way, we were talking about the cruise, and a lot of people say, I wonder if I can afford it. And the fact is, I mean, I understand not everyone can afford to go on vacations and things, but if you're going to go on vacation, it certainly is one of the most cost-effective vacations there is, because once you pay for the cruise, you are done. You don't have to pay for anything on the cruise. All your food and lodging and tips and taxes, everything is taken care of. It is fantastic. Don't wait too long to come to the Dice Tower Cruise. Sign up today. Today I'll be doing a question and answer time at 1 o'clock, so hopefully I'll see some of you there. And you know what? That's pretty much all the announcements. Let's get to the news. All right, so what's happening in the news? First of all, Ice Cool has won the Kinderspiel Award. That's the kids' version of the Spiel des Jahres Awards. They'll announce the other ones in a little bit, actually, not too far away, where they'll announce the full winners of the Spiel des Jahres Awards. Ice Cool is a great game, though, and I think this is one of the least surprising wins in a long time. Speaking of awards, the Origins Awards were announced last week. For the Best Family Game, Happy Salmon won. Mystic Veil won in the card game category. Blood Rage Organizer from Broken Token won in the accessory category. And Scythe not only won the board game category, but won Game of the Year, which is where they go through all the winners of each category and vote on one of them. And from what I can tell, Scythe was a very decisive victor against some pretty tough competition like Blood Rage and Star Wars Rebellion and Mission Red Planet, not Mission Red Planet, Terraforming Mars. I don't know why I always mix those names up. So those are the Origins Awards, a good slate of games. Yellow has announced King Kong pack. I've already mentioned this a little bit in the past, but now they have a little bit of artwork here where we can see what the King Kong monster pack for King of Tokyo and King of New York is going to look like. Very excited about that, although this brings the third monkey into this universe. Also, we have BattleCon Trials of Indines. This is going to add more characters to I like the War of Indines, Devastation of Indines, BattleCon universe. There's a ton of characters. Holy cow, did I not think we needed 10 more characters. There's just so much already, but hey, for fans of the game, you're going to be super. I mean, I am a fan of the game, but wow, that's a lot. North Star is releasing Wits and Wagers Vegas. This is a new version of it, which has even more gambling, I guess, in it. So now instead of just bidding on the different categories, the winners, you can also bid on red, you can bid on black, you can bid on a player before they even give their answer if you want to, which is kind of an intriguing way to do it. Like, you're like, I think that team's going to do really well. So we're going to be testing this out probably at Dice Tower Con. So anyway, it's just kind of a new version of the game. Z-Man Game has announced both Jungle, which no one's ever going to remember because it's spelled with 2 G's. This has 5 different games in it from Bruno Fiduti and Anya Raid. This is a card game with various animals going up from higher to lower. Like I said, 5 different games. I'm always a little concerned whether there's an anthology of games because there's usually one really good game and then the rest are okay. But that's good if the one game is fantastic. They also announced Spynet. This is from Richard Garfield. designer Magic the Gathering, Robo Rally, King of Tokyo. This is a game about spies and trying to figure out who's what spy. It looks really interesting. I like the artwork of it. Fantasy Flight announced a sequel to Letters from Whitechapel called Whitehall Mystery. This looks like a pretty straightforward sequel where, again, one person is playing Jack the Ripper and everyone's trying to find them, although it seems a little more grotesque than normal because it looks like he's leaving a body part in different locations. If you thought Letters from Whitechapel was dark, this one might be darker in theme for you. WizKids announced a new starter set for Dice Masters about Harley Quinn, who has suddenly become like one of the most popular characters in the DC universe, so go figure. And in sad news, Geek Chic, the original company that made the wonderful, grandiose tables, and you saw many of them in my own videos, they have folded and are out of business. So that's the news. Let's get to some more cheerful things with Kickstarter news.
Happy breakfast, everybody! Today's projects take us all around the world and feature some really great art. So let's take a look at what's happening in our crowdfunding world. Pocket Ops is a quick two-player game of deduction. The players are vying to stop their opponent's operatives and capture the doomsday device first. A player wins when they've retrieved the power source and the device. Pocket Ops is actually a twist on good old tic-tac-toe because the goal is to secure 3 spaces in a row on the grid. But the twist is, if your opponent predicts your next move correctly, that move is canceled. And to mix it up further, elite agents like the assassin, sniper, and hacker have a variety of abilities, but if they're discovered, they're out of the game. Pocket Ops plays in 15 minutes, and you can get a copy for just $14. Rise of Tribes is a lightweight civ building game that features an engaging dice action selection mechanism. Players work to expand their tribe, gather resources, gain abilities, and complete goals. Players choose from 4 basic actions, but a clever dice mechanism nudges players to be tactically flexible as they optimize their roles and sometimes have to choose between immediate needs and long-term planning for a big turn. You can play the basic game or incorporate the variable tribe abilities to mix up the gameplay. You can get the base game for a pledge of $39 plus shipping, or you can get the deluxe edition of Rise of Tribes that features a bunch of custom wooden bits for a pledge of $59 plus shipping. Grey Fox Games is bringing us an expansion to the excellent Deception Murder in Hong Kong, Undercover Allies. The expansion adds 2 new roles, the Lab Tech and the Inside Man, to this game that combines the mechanisms of Mysterium and the Resistance. There is also a new event, new scene tiles, and over 130 new means and clue cards. And if that's not enough deception for you, there are also add-on theme packs that are available that include cards from regions beyond Hong Kong. You can get a copy of Undercover Allies for a pledge of $24 plus shipping. In Oaxaca, players are artisans crafting works of art to sell. A game of dice allocation, action selection, and engine building, players use dice that focus them on a specific type of craft. But you choose whether you're going to gather more cards or work on crafting the arts that you already have going on. The trick is, if you can get synergies going in your workshop, the crafting becomes much more efficient. Moreover, completed crafts provide a variety of bonuses that you can take advantage of. On top of all of that, tourist cards provide different abilities that change up the game every time you play. Oaxaca is quick and clever, and it includes 20 custom dice, and you can get a copy of the game for $30 plus shipping. 1066 Tears to Many Mothers is an asymmetric 1-to-2 player game based on the historical events that led up to the Battle of Hastings. Originally a well-regarded print-and-play game, 1066 Tears to Many Mothers is being published by the makers of Gloom of Kilforth, and it features lovely new art that is all based on real people and events from that era. Players choose to play as the Saxons or the Normans and must work to overcome obstacles as they march towards the Battle of Hastings, in which they battle it out over 3 battlefield wedges. Easy to set up and play with tense hand management, 1066 also has a bot function that allows for solo play with varying degrees of difficulty. You can get a copy of 1066 Tears to Many Mothers for a pledge of £25 plus shipping. Groves, designed by Steve Aramini, combines worker placement and pool building as players use spirits to gain dominion points. Spirits placed on individual groves or the central tree board provide a myriad of benefits, but if the spirit aligns to the grove type, there's an extra ability gained. And if you build a portal, you can actually take advantage of opponents' groves for the benefit, but then your spirit worker becomes part of your opponent's pool. Groves also includes a custom solo play mode that incorporates wraith spirits to really give you a unique experience. And Groves features vibrant art by Nolan Nasser. And you can get a copy of this game for a pledge of $35. Alrighty, that's all I've got for you this episode. Hopefully something caught your eye. And until next time, I hope you have a wonderful week.
Hello, I'm Chaz Marler from Pair of Dice Paradise, and welcome back to the third in our three-part series on minimum advertised price, or MAP, policies in the board game industry. Now, before I conclude all this, I just want to mention that you are welcome to disagree with me. MAP policies can potentially allow manufacturers to implement programs that turn their suggested retail prices into a thinly disguised barrier to price discounts for the retailers, which, yeah, obviously I'm totally not a fan of. They have the potential to make prices go up artificially, not due to market demand, but because of market manipulation. In fact, funny story, way back in 1911, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that minimum sale price programs were in violation of Section 1 of the Sherman Antitrust Act, asserting that minimum resale price policies were indistinguishable in economic effect from naked horizontal price fixing by a cartel, which sounds pretty nasty and rude. And so it was for 96 years until 2007, when the Supreme Court case of Legan Creative Incorporated versus PSKS Incorporated resulted in the court overturning that ban on such pricing policies by a really narrow margin of 5-4. Or, as noted in an article published on the pop culture news website ICV2.com shortly after the law was overturned in 2007, quote, "In that 1911 case, the court decided that these vertical pricing agreements did not benefit the consumer and banned them outright." They went on to include an explanation of the court's reasoning. The Supreme Court's 2007 reversal does not mean that it's now acceptable for manufacturers to immediately implement programs that will turn their minimum suggested retail prices into ironclad minimum retail prices, which, if not followed at the retail level, would result in the cutoff of supply or other punitive measures. So that's good. But if you go back and replace the phrase retail prices with advertised prices, it starts to sound eerily similar to the MAP policies that we're starting to see publishers introduce. So, with all of that stuff in mind, I'm going to conclude this with a question for you, my fellow player and purchaser of tabletop games. Minimum pricing policies were prohibited for nearly a century because they, quote, did not benefit the consumer. Alrighty then. Now that they're infiltrating the board game marketplace, tell me, how have the publishers' minimum advertised pricing policies that we've started to see benefited you, the consumer?
So what's coming from Dice Tower this week? Well, I'm not quite sure, actually. I know there will be an unboxing video, and there will be a lot of videos from some of our other contributors doing different reviews. And then I'm going to try to start piling out reviews as quickly as I can. Also, Melody will probably join in, and Sam and Z, of course. But we're just not sure because I got to sit down and figure out everything. The UK Games Expo, and then 2 weeks, and then the Origins, and then 2 weeks, and then Dice Tower Con has really kind of made for a very smushy time of year. So we're trying to get these reviews out as quickly as we can. Again, not quite sure what you're going to see this week, but you will see videos, so pay attention to our channel. That's really all I can say. Now, of course, the podcast and our network and everything else, check out dicetowernetwork.com for that. There's certainly plenty of that. All right, let's keep moving.
everyone, my name is Annette and you may know me as Netters Plays. And today on Applied Mechanics, I'm going to go over the game of Ulm. Now, Ulm has an interesting action selection mechanism to it. It's very unique and different, so let me show you a little bit of how that is incorporated in this game. So here you have the whole setup for Ulm. You even have a whole cathedral in the middle of the board. You have a river that's going to go ahead and score you more points the further along you get. You even have areas where you will gain control or even get further actions. You have a draw pile that you can pick from. You even have a bag where you can draw action tiles from. But this is the area where I'm more interested in. This is going to dictate what actions you're going to take on your turn. You're going to draw a tile from the bag, and then you're going to go ahead and use a pushing system where you can push the whole row, or you can push a whole column. Whatever is left over in that column, those will be the actions that you can take on your turn. Some of the actions that you can take on your turn are, for example, collecting coins, or moving your ship down the river, or even collecting tiles that might end up on the edge of your grid. So as you can see, Ulm is super unique and different in the way that you're selecting your actions. You're using these tiles that you're collecting from a bag and you're pushing through this little grid system on the corner of the board. Whatever is left over is going to dictate what you can do on your turn. And the tiles can either be pushed out of that system or they can move around for later turns. Just the way that you're selecting your actions on your turn is super unique and different, and that's why I like Ulm. It makes the game super interesting. Well, thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye!
All right, folks, it's time to take a look at another one of the shelves in my collection and see what's on it. So here we have Mystic Vale. Hey, this is the one that just won the Origins Award. I like the card crafting system. It is definitely themeless, but there is still a lot going on in it. Then we have The Pursuit of Happiness, which is a game of life if it was done as a Euro game. Melody really likes this one, which is why it's still in my collection, but I also think it's a very good game. You just saw me review this last week. Near and Far is an amazing game. Amazing storytelling game. Easy add to my collection. Arcadia Quest, I got 3 boxes here. There's figures in one, there's maps in another, pieces in another. Love Arcadia Quest. I mean, this will probably fill a whole shelf at some point. I don't care. One of my favorite games. Stockpile is one of the best stock market games that's ever been made. Really enjoy this one. And I can't wait to play more of it. I like the simplicity of it. Really good. And Level 7 Omega Protocol. This is if XCOM was a board game. I know there's XCOM the board game, but this is the one where it really feels like it as you have troops going in fighting a bad guy. Haven't played this one for a while. Need to get this one back to the table. But it has such a unique, interesting system, so it's going to stay in my collection. Just a great set of games on these shelves. That's what's on the shelf this week.
Hello, my name's Dan. This is Evan. And this is Cora. And we're here today to talk to you about board games you can play with children of all ages, really. And today we're going to be talking about this game. What is it, Cora?
King Frog.
King Frog. In King Frog, the players are frogs competing to jump from lily pad to lily pad in a race around a pond. Each player has a hand of cards numbered 1 to 5. They simultaneously choose which card to use and then play it face down on the table. Then, all the players reveal their cards and, starting with the player that played the lowest card, move their frog however many spaces they chose, leapfrogging over any lily pads occupied by their opponents. If they land on a pad of their own colour, or one of the 2 wild pads, then they get to take their played card back into their hand. However, if they don't, then their card is then removed from the game. The winner is the frog that's able to lap the person in last place, or the last player to have any cards left in their hand, whichever comes first. So Cora, what do you think about this game?
I like it.
Why do you like it?
Because you can foil each other's plans.
Because you can foil each other's plans. That's what everyone was going to say. It is good though, because you can get in everyone's way and things like that, can't you? You get in everyone's way. So what do you think about the game, Evan?
I like it because, well, you have to think it's a very hard thinking game, as in you have to think what other people move as well as what you move.
Yeah, you've got to consider what everyone else is doing as well as what you want to do as well, don't you? It's a really easy game, but it's also one that's got quite sophisticated strategic thinking. So it's fun for you as well, isn't it, Evan? And it's also fun for Cora because she can listen to us grumbling and groaning that she's got in our way and spoiled all our intricately laid plans.
She laughed about that a lot.
She did laugh about that a lot. So we give King Frog 2 jumping frogs up.
Welcome to the thrift store where two brothers with $5 whole attempt to find the most interesting or strange board game from yesteryear and review it for you. This is Thrift Store Throwbacks.
Come on, dude, we have to shoot this intro.
No!
Yes, dude. We only have 2.5 minutes. We're burning all our time.
No, I'm not doing it. You can't make me.
Come on. It's not going to be that bad. It's going to be fine.
Is it? Oh, it isn't? Oh, it isn't? It isn't going to be that bad, Mike?
I mean...
Are you telling me it's not going to be that bad?
I'm not that excited.
What are you thinking? You really think it's going to be fun? Are you happy with this purchase that you made the other day, Mike? Because I'll tell you right now, I am not stoked!
Tight.
Alright, so this is Twilight Saga Noon Moon, the movie game. It's the same game. It's the same game. It's the exact same game. Come on, Mike. Come on, Mike. Sit down. Sit down. We got to talk about this right now. Woo! It's the same game.
Real quick, so if you didn't watch our review last week, you're one of the lucky ones. This game just has a bunch of dumb challenges and like trivia, and this is just about New Moon instead of Twilight. Literally the only difference and slightly better components. And it's actually, you know what, I thought at first, I was like, oh, the challenges and things are better because now they like tie in like some movie mojo, and they're like, hey man, Jacob's a real strong guy, so you can do this challenge. But it actually makes it worse to me.
No, it's like, again, they're
so
tricking you to thinking, because instead of it just being a stupid challenge about rolling a die, it says Edward is about to reveal his identity. If you roll 5 or higher, Bella reaches him in time and you complete the challenge. It's like, it's the same. You're still just rolling a die, seeing what happens, but now they just put a little flavor text in it, and it makes it worse.
I want to put this out here. If anyone knows where Eclipse or Breaking Dawn are, you need to send it to me, because these games are actually compatible with each other, so you can go full-on campaign mode where you play through Twilight, and then rather than going to Scene 8, you just go to Scene 1 of New Moon.
It's true.
So we want to link these together, and we'll do a live playthrough of all 4 back-to-back to back-to-back. Do hit us up on social media, you guys. It's a much happier place than this review. It's right here.
Also, if you've been playing any new thrift store games, you find a thrift store gem, please send us a picture of it. Tell us about it. We'd really like to see it. And until then, we'll see you at the thrift store.
See you there.
In the news section, I talked about Geek Chic going out of business. Now, when Geek Chic went out of business, immediately rumors and speculation came up on the internet. Rumors and speculation came up in a talk. I ate with a lot of different people over the last week, from the Dice Tower people to just folks who like gaming to publishers and different things. And everyone said, oh, I wonder what's going on. And there's certainly a lot of talk and speculation. And talk and speculation is going to happen. But I'm a little concerned about the talk and speculation that occurred on the internet. Now, first of all, I want to say that I'm very sorry for those people who invested money into a table and have not heard back from Geek Chic at all and lost money for that. That's very unfortunate, and I hope that those people can get their money back. And I think that it's almost schadenfreude to look at those people and go, well, that's what you get for buying a really expensive table. No, it's not that just really irks me. When someone loses money, it doesn't matter whether that money was for a luxury item or not. That's a big deal. And to those people, I hope that you can somehow get your money back. Now, we don't know what happened with Geek Chic going under. We just know that there was some rumors that it was going under, and then suddenly on their website, they basically said, we're out of business, we're very sorry. It was a very short message. But immediately the speculation started happening, where maybe it was because they bought Crash Games last year, maybe it was because of this or that, to the point where I had people come up to me at Origins and say, this is definitely the case. This is what's happening. And I said, well, how do you know that? Well, I read it on the internet. Well, first of all, there is no official story at all. And I think it's really dangerous when we talk about these things and say, I think it's this, and then someone else says, maybe it is, and I think it's that, and pretty soon it becomes, this is what it is. See, that's the problem here, is that we're talking about things that may have happened, and pretty soon it becomes fact that they do happen. Now, I've talked about this in the past because there's been disputes between companies and designers, or designer and publisher, or designer versus designer, or whatever, and whoever gets their story out on the internet, gets it into the court of public opinion, can often win against somebody who is simply gracious enough and has the manners to keep things wrapped up, to not be constantly talking about how, their side of the story is right. And I find that unfortunate, right? That these things shouldn't even be out in the court of public opinion. There are actually a lot of disputes and a lot of mean breakups sometimes, or I shouldn't say mean, but like they're not nice breakups between companies or partners or designers, but you don't hear about them most of the time. And that's a good thing, right? It's good that you don't know all the stuff that goes on, because it's frankly none of your business. Now, you might say, Tom, in this case, Geek Chic going out of business is my business because I have a table with them. Well, yeah, you're right. It is your business, and you should find out how you can get your money back. But for the vast majority of us, there almost seems some kind of like a, what's happening? They're out of business. I knew it. That's what happens when you sell luxury tables, or that's what happens when you do this, or that's what happens. And it's almost like this below the surface joy in the destruction of somebody else. Even when I talked to some of the other table makers, they did not take joy in this because, first of all, it could happen to them. Secondly, they see how people react when it happens to Geek Chic. And thirdly, we should not be taking joy in the bad things that happen to other people. But what I really want to point out is we definitely should not be speculating unfounded accusations against anybody until we know the whole story. We don't know the whole story. We don't know what happened. And you could say, well, we can gather together from this, this, and this. Well, first of all, good job, Detective Jones. But again, there is a lot of things. I've seen many times where I know the story behind the scenes, and I'll see people say, well, I think maybe it's this. And I'm like, wow, they're so off base. But because of, disclosures and things that I have, I can't correct them. So just because no one comes forward and corrects misinformation doesn't mean that it's still not misinformation. Now, what am I doing? I'm telling the internet to speak nicely about other people. That's probably not going to happen. But I was just a little disheartened by the fact that people came in and basically said, oh, and they blamed a whole variety of people, some who may be to blame and some who may not. Guess what, guys? I don't know. But let's wait and see. Right now, I think we can feel bad for those who lost money on tables. We can feel bad for the employees who work there. And we can feel bad for the industry as a whole because it lost a company that really did change and do things in the industry. I don't like to see these things happen. If there was a competitor to the Dice Tower, one of my video reviewers also crashed and burned for whatever reason, I would hope that I would be the same way and not look at that and go, now the Dice Tower will do even better. No, I don't think that does good for anybody, especially speculating about it publicly. All right. Enough of this. Let's get to happier stuff.
Hi, Mike DeLisio from Solomode Games. I'm just recently returned from my very first Origins gaming convention, and I have to say I had just an amazing time. It was a terrific convention and a wonderful experience all the way around. I have to say that one of my highlights was spending a bit of time at the Dice Tower booth and getting to meet and speak with some amazing Dice Tower followers and watchers. And it really was a pleasure to meet with and speak to so many people who enjoy the Dice Tower's content. And it was just wonderful to get a chance to talk to some of you. Now, one person I spoke to, and I feel horrible that I didn't take note of your name. I wish I had done so. We chatted for a bit, and he asked me an interesting question. He asked, where is my favorite gaming environment? Where do I like to play solo games? You know, he mentioned that for him, his favorite thing to do is early in the morning with a nice cup of coffee. He likes to spend some time playing some solo games, kind of greeting the day in that way. And I thought that was a really interesting question. I hadn't thought of that before. For me, I'm a school teacher, a high school teacher, so my prime time is after I get off of work. I have a little hour and a half, 2 hour chunk of time between that and the time when my wife gets home and we kind of get into our evening routine. So that's my solo gaming environment that works best for me. But how about you? Where do you like to game? If you're a solo gamer or a multiplayer gamer, do you have a particular gaming environment, a place and a time that works best for you? If so, let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much and have a great day.
Hi, this is Gary Pope from Late to the Table, and this is What Should I Get, where we go on the board game subreddit, we look at the What Should I Get mega thread, and we suggest games for players. So, let's go ahead and start. Psychotron 7x2 has a weekly game night with their wife and relatives, and they're basically looking for a new game to introduce to them. The rules have to be really simple, and it has to hold up to at least 7 players. So for this I would suggest a bunch of party games, including No Thanks, Telestrations, Codenames, and then also a trick-taking game, Diamonds. OXI is looking for a game that's like Twilight Imperium, but is not sci-fi or fantasy. So for this I would suggest the 2 main Civ games, which is Sid Meier's Civilization, the board game, and then also Mega Civ, if you could afford that. Briefcase Bunny has 5 to 8 people usually at their house, and they're very competitive gamers and play just about anything including Civ games. So for this I'd suggest a few games. I'd suggest Guards of Atlantis, Eclipse, Twilight Imperium 3, and Steampunk Rally. But if you actually really feel like shelling out money, then I would suggest getting 2 copies of Risk Legacy, and also I'd suggest getting 2 copies of Memoir 44 with the Overlord expansion. Throwaway 32123 is basically going backpacking with 3 other friends, and they're looking for a game that'd be perfect for the situation. Just bear in mind that they also play just about any game, including games like Food Chain Magnate. They also have a few games that they have in mind, but they can't decide which one they want to get. These options are Citadels, The Grizzled, One Night Ultimate Werewolf, Race for the Galaxy, and also Ninja Dice. Now for this situation, if you want a really heavy game in a small box, go with PAX Premier, and if you want another party game, go with Codename. But out of all those games that you suggested, me personally, I would suggest The Grizzled. Citadels tends to overstay its welcome. Race for the Galaxy is best with 2 and is a chore to teach. One Night Ultimate Werewolf plays better with more than 4 players, and you kind of need the Daybreak expansion to play with 4 or less. And Ninja Dice might occupy 30 minutes of your time's tops, and then you might not even want to play it again. And that was another episode of What Should I Get? Be sure to check out the board game subreddit, and check out the What Should I Get mega thread that's usually posted on a daily basis at this point. And this is Gary Pope from Late to the Table, and I hope you're enjoying your breakfast.
Week, or in a week and a half, I guess, at the Dice Tower Con, I'm going to be running tumbling dice, but I wanted to get some dice that were interesting and unique. And so I have some interesting and unique dice here. I like to show off dice on my show sometimes. Here we have, for example, a 5-sided die. So you can see that when you roll it, it might land on the edge, or it might land on the side. So I have 5 sides. These are weighted dice. It's a 6-sided die, but it rolls as a ball, but it doesn't roll off the table. As you can see, it stops. So those are just, I think, fun. Here, of course, I have a 30-sided die. You might have seen those before in Formula D. This one here is a 14-sided die. This is a 4-sided die that I think rolls better than the normal triangular dice. I mean, it's still kind of that triangular shape, but seems to roll slightly better. Here we have a, what is this? A 9-sided die. There's just something about a 9-sided die that makes me laugh. Here's a 3-sided dice. So you can see there's just 1, 2, 3. Well, this one here is actually a percentage dice. It's 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it. So this will roll average more often than not. Let's see what else we got here. This is a 20-sided die. That's kind of boring. Why are you even in here? Why? You don't belong with these weird dice. A 14-sided die. Another 14-sided die. This one here is a 22-sided die. So that's pretty cool. And so, anyway, just thought I would show some of my fun, weird dice. I like showing them off. They're a lot of fun.
Hi everyone. Walking the streets in the Netherlands right now, you are bound to see the flag flying, accompanied by a school bag to indicate that someone in that household has graduated. I would especially like to congratulate my nephew Jan and his girlfriend Dana, and everyone else who themselves killed their final exams, or have a loved one who graduated to the next stage of their journey to adulthood. Parties everywhere, but also the question, what comes next? Prepare for college, travel, or, dare I say it, start looking for a job. This week I am playing a game that takes a very literal approach to the term killing it at your temp job. This week I am playing Temp Worker Assassins. In Temp Worker Assassins, players have been hired to infiltrate the bureaucrat castle and take down the company from the inside out. All the employees there are evil, typing zombies, payroll pirates, or humans as a resource harpies. Security at the entrance is fierce, so you will not have any weapons. You'll need to find them at the office. Players have 1 week to take down as many of the monsters as possible. The game is a cross between a worker placement and a deck builder. Each of the 5 weekdays you spend all your workers to grow your hand cards and your deck with nifty things like the remarkably heavy calculator or the pointy-edged clipboard to try to build up your attack to beat the monsters one at a time. Every game you can use different departments to give every game a unique feel, and it is surprisingly fun. It has some very funny but bloody artwork, but I really enjoyed this one. Temp Worker Assassins. My name is Dave Luza. Thanks for watching.
Hey everybody, Chris Renshaw here from the Boards and Swords podcast. Actually about to drive away from Origins, so I hope everyone that was here had a good time. Thanks to everyone that gave a shout out about the segment. I really appreciate that. But remember a couple weeks ago when I was talking about Roll20.net? Well, this weekend is Roll20Con, and it's a special online convention held by the Roll20 folks in conjunction with Twitch to help promote not only gaming online, but it's also for a good cause. See, during this event, they're going to be asking people, they're going to be raising money for the Cybersmile Foundation, which is a foundation dedicated to fighting cyberbullying. So it's a really great cause. If you go on their website and you search the hashtag Roll20Con, then you'll be able to find games that are designed to be one-off con games, so you can get your convention experience and still be in your pajamas. So, as for me, I'm going to be running a game for Roll20Con and streaming it on my Twitch page, twitch.tv/OCDcast. I don't know the details yet. It's probably going to be in the evening around 6 or 7. So, stay tuned to my YouTube channel and my Twitter and that sort of thing, and I'll have exact details. But I'm going to be running my D&D group through the Tomb of Horrors, which is like the most dreaded D&D module that's ever been written. So if you're curious to see how horribly Dungeons & Dragons can be played, then you're going to want to check that out. Anyways, thanks everyone for watching, and remember, may all your hits be crits.
It's convention season, that magical time of year where people come from all over the community to play games I'm going to talk about solo games. The two I've chosen are small box card games that you can fit in your pocket and play in a hotel room. A nice, quiet, peaceful hotel room. Perfect. Well, almost perfect. Those complimentary tea bags, just little brown bags of disappointment. More like liability bags. Get it? Game 1, Urbion. Mine's French, but it's language independent. It's about dreams or nightmares or Inception, or I don't really know. It's set in the Oniverse, that weird place with all the scary eyes. It's a little mathy and about as difficult as an iron, but you don't have to shuffle the cards 1,000 times, which is fantastic. If you want a real review, I suggest drive-through reviews, and it comes with 2 little expansions, which you should just use straight away. Game 2 is Okie Dokie. Plays 5 people, but I got it because it also plays solo. In it, the animals have gathered together to put on a musical performance. It's just a numbers and colours card game. Let's face it. Though, unlike Urbion, it is really cute. Here's a comparison. Aim of the game is to play all the cards down in front of you in a specific sequence, and if you fail to do it, you lose. And those animals aren't happy. You monster. I struggle to enjoy the game, and 6 Nymphs and stuff like that, but Okie Dokie is real good. Peace!
Hey everybody, that's it for another board game breakfast. We really appreciate you sticking around with us, and I apologize for being a day late, but we will be on time next week. Okay, well, a lot going on, of course, with the Dice Tower. We just got back from the Origins, so there's going to be, like I said, we're kind of working and trying to get things done here as quickly as we can. So we'll have the videos out for you. I'll see you today at 1 o'clock for live question and answer. Until then, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching the Dice Tower Board Game Breakfast.
Thanks for watching Board Game Breakfast. Tune in each week for your daily dose of gaming goodness with Tom Vasel and all the gang. Until next time, I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast, a Dice Tower production, sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., an amazing place to buy board games. Cool stuff in stock at CoolStuffInc.com.